Jesus, please tell us a new parable.
Welcome here. Today I will share with you an illustration that begins like this. There was in the region of Judea a simple water-bearer who made his living carrying water from a distant spring to the homes of villagers. Every morning before dawn, this faithful man would walk the long dusty path with two large clay jars suspended from a wooden pole across his shoulders. One jar was perfect in every way. Its surface was smooth and flawless. Its shape was symmetrical and beautiful. It held water without losing a single drop. The other jar had a crack running down its side. Not a large crack, but enough that by the time the water-bearer reached his destination, half the water had leaked out along the path. Day after day, year after year, this routine continued. The perfect jar arrived full. The cracked jar arrived half empty. The perfect jar took great pride in its accomplishment. It would sit in the corner of the house gleaming with satisfaction, knowing it had fulfilled its purpose completely. It never wasted water. It never disappointed the water-bearer. It was admired by everyone who saw it, but the cracked jar lived in constant shame. Every day as water dripped from its side, it felt the weight of failure. It watched the perfect jar being praised while it was merely tolerated. The villagers would point at the crack and shake their heads. What a pity, they would say. If only it were whole, it could serve properly. The cracked jar heard these words, and they cut deeper than any crack ever could. It began to see itself as worthless, broken beyond repair, a burden to the water-bearer who had to carry it despite its flaw. One morning, after years of silent suffering, the cracked jar finally spoke. "Master," it said with a trembling voice, "why do you keep me? I am ashamed of my imperfection. Every day I fail you. Every day I lose half the water you work so hard to carry. Why not replace me with another perfect jar?" The water-bearer stopped walking. He set down his pole gently and looked at the cracked jar with eyes full of kindness. "Come," he said, "let me show you something you have never noticed." He lifted just the cracked jar and began to walk slowly along the path they traveled every single day. "Look carefully," the water-bearer said, pointing to the ground. For the first time, the cracked jar looked not at its own failure, but at the path beside it. What it saw took its breath away. On the side of the path where the cracked jar was always carried, there was an explosion of beauty. Wild flowers of every color imaginable grew in abundance. Crimson poppies danced in the breeze. Golden marigolds turned their faces toward the sun. Purple lavender filled the air with fragrance. White daisies carpeted the roadside. Butterflies fluttered from blossom to blossom. Bees hummed as they gathered nectar. Birds sang in the branches of small trees that had sprouted along the way. The entire side of the path was a living garden of color and life. But when the cracked jar looked at the other side of the path, where the perfect jar was always carried, it saw only dry dust and bare earth. Not a single flower grew there, not a blade of grass, nothing but emptiness. The water-bearer smiled gently. "Do you understand now?" he asked. "I have always known about your crack. From the very first day I knew, but I also knew something else. I planted flower seeds along this side of the path. Every day for years as we walked this road, your crack watered these seeds. Drop by drop, day by day, you gave life to this garden. Because of what you thought was your greatest weakness, beauty now grows where there was once only dust. The bees have pollen because of you. The butterflies have nectar because of you. Travelers rest in the shade because of you. Children pick flowers because of you. You thought you were failing, but you were actually fulfilling a purpose the perfect jar never could. The cracked jar felt something it had never felt before. Not pride, but peace. Not perfection, but purpose. Its crack had not disqualified it from service. Its crack had become the very channel through which blessing flowed. The perfect jar could hold water, yes, but the cracked jar could give life. Do you see the truth hidden in this illustration? How many of you carry shame because of your imperfections? How many of you compare yourselves to others who seem flawless and complete? How many of you believe that your weaknesses disqualify you from being used by God? Listen carefully to what I tell you. The Father does not require your perfection. He desires your willingness. He does not need vessels without cracks. He needs vessels that allow His grace to flow through. The very thing you consider your greatest flaw may be exactly what God intends to use for His greatest glory. That weakness you hide in shame, it might be the opening through which His strength is revealed. That failure you cannot forget, it might be the wound through which His healing flows to others. That broken place in your heart? It might be the crack through which His light shines brightest. I speak to you the truth when I say this. My power is made perfect in weakness. My strength shows itself most clearly not in those who think they are strong, but in those who know they are weak. A vessel must be broken before the fragrance can pour out. Grain must be crushed before it becomes bread. Grapes must be pressed before they become wine. And your life must be cracked before God's blessing can flow through you to others. Stop comparing yourself to the perfect jar. Stop measuring your worth by how much you think you retain for yourself. Start asking what blessing is leaking from your life to water the path for others. The perfect jar arrived full and stayed full. It served only itself and the one who drank from it. But the cracked jar left a trail of life everywhere it went. Which jar do you want to be? The one that holds everything in, or the one that gives everything away? Remember always these words. We carry this treasure in jars of clay to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. You are a jar of clay, fragile, flawed, cracked, but inside you carries the very presence of the living God. And it is through your cracks, not despite them, that His light shines into a dark world. Do not despise your imperfections. Do not hide your weaknesses. Do not be ashamed of your scars. They are the very places where God's grace becomes visible to others. They are the openings through which heaven touches earth. They are the channels through which living water flows to a thirsty world. The water-bearer loved both his jars, but he had a special purpose for the one that was cracked. God loves you completely, just as you are, but He has a special purpose for the places where you are broken. Will you trust Him with your imperfections? Will you let Him plant seeds along your path? Will you believe that your weakness can become His strength? Go now and walk your journey. Do not worry about how much you are losing along the way. Instead, look back at the path behind you. You will see flowers growing where you thought there was only failure. You will see beauty blooming where you thought there was only brokenness. And you will finally understand that God wastes nothing, not even your cracks, especially not your cracks.